Thank you for staying with us, and you're watching TVC Breakfast Saturday. In a world where diversity is the foundation of our collective identity, achieving true equality and inclusivity is a continuous process. Despite the progress made, many individuals still face discrimination, marginalization, and exclusion based on their race, gender, age, ability, religion, or socio-economic status. And it's therefore important to confront the systemic barriers, the biases, and the inequalities that hinder their full participation. So the journey towards inclusiveness is not only a moral imperative, but necessary towards supporting the potential of every person, fostering creativity, innovation, and prosperity, as well as their rights in full, the overall rights, that is. So joining us now to discuss this, to give life to this subject, because some would say it's the issue of rights is abstract. So let's bring it all home, and we have an activist, a human rights activist, to help do justice to this subject. She's also the project director at Vision Springs Initiative. She is Ngozi Nwosu Chuba. Thank you for joining us on the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning and happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And, thank you for keeping us, for joining us again. But I know we don't have so much time, but quickly, let's just have your say on the question we asked people on the streets. This issue about 2 million naira. You find this whooping sum on the street, what would you do?
So 2 million is not whooping sum, and it wouldn't make me do what I shouldn't do.
Right.
Like you said, if it's not mine, it's not mine. I might not even touch it, because we hear some funny stories about finding things and picking them, and you end up being in trouble. So I wouldn't even touch it.
Right. Just move on.
Yes.
And thank you for that. And I hope, Nigerians can take a cue from that. But, back to the subjects that we're discussing, this issue about, promoting an inclusive society. You've been, on the streets pushing for this narrative, but where are we now?
So I wouldn't say we are not anywhere, and I am really happy. In the last 2 months, there's been some kind of backlash, which made it important to have this conversation. The president signed a document that is called the Samoa Agreement, which talks about rights of everyone, talks about gender inclusion. And gender simply means ensuring that everyone is at the table. Gender is just a term that people ascribe to, that show roles of men and women. It doesn't connote anything negative, and it caused a lot of uproar. Oh, why should they sign this document that talks about equality, that talks about rights? So this is just like a reminder, to our listeners, that rights are rights, that human beings, men, women, they are equal, that we should not discriminate against anyone, that we should see things, we shouldn't see everything as negative, and I'm making reference to that Samoa Agreement because it talks about equality of rights, and then I think we should take it from there. There's lots of discrimination. My organization works, empowering marginalized persons. Yesterday, we got a news about how about 23 young women, were arrested by law enforcement officers. I'm still going to take it up even on Monday in Lagos, and they called us yesterday night around 8 o'clock to say they were taken to police station. They were accused of being sex workers. What did the government, law enforcement, of course, what did they do? They started them to the tune of up to 300,000 naira, So when we say if we have laws that are discriminatory, which discriminate against persons, those laws, they do us no good. What they do is empower people to extort people. So if you catch me breaking a law, the thing that you have to do is to take me to court, where it will be determined whether I am guilty or not, and not take laws into your hands yourselves. We hear stories about marginalized persons when they are arrested, you extort them, you abuse them, you beat them. And this is even with the fact that we have laws. We have the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We should respect the law. We have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. Though someone is trying to repeal it, it doesn't make any sense, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act speaks about the rights of all individuals, irrespective of who they are, So if you find anyone going contrary to the laws, we do not also, my organization and the people I work with, do not support, people violating the law. But what we hate is People taking laws into their hands, you know, stripping people naked on the street, abusing them. For instance, we have the Anti-Torture Act, which talks about the dignity of the person, you know. I'm here to say that human rights is inherent. When you are born with those rights, and they must be respected.
You made mention of many rights of Nigerians.
Yes.
How many of those rights are that these Nigerians are aware about? What is the organization doing concerning sensitization, awareness of these rights, so that there won't be any form of injustice?
Absolutely. So in our work, like 2 days ago, we had a training for about 30 young women. Some of them are sex workers, some of them are people who are violated randomly by law enforcement officers. We create awareness. We simplify the laws. We turn them to local language. You know, we translate them to Yoruba, Hausa. We haven't done Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. We also work with agencies such as yours, where we create awareness of the fact that people have rights, and those rights must be respected.
And okay, so I see you are passionate about, you know, legal protections for vulnerable people. So are you saying, you know, sex workers also fall under this category? And in addition, tell us some more about, you know, misconceptions. You spoke earlier on about officers taking law into their hands merely because, perhaps you may say, because they are in their uniform. So maybe that gives them that authority to do and undo. But, you know, help us to, you know, lay some more background to these issues.
So we've come across situations where they see people on the street, maybe they're cross-dressers, you decide they have violated the law, you know. You do not have to take law into your hands. These sex workers, I always talk about the fact that we should find solution to the root causes of the problem that we have. You know, working with young people, last year we empowered some young women who we call sex workers. People go into certain trades because they do not have an option. It is the responsibility of every Nigerian to see how we can lift others out from poverty. Yeah, and so these people, we have criminal codes that are outdated laws of 1916 and 1935 that talks about flogging people when they commit an offense. But we have the people we got that law from, the British. They've dropped that law. They have now moved forward, and I'm happy that Nigeria moved forward to have the constitution which guides us, which is the law that we should, you know, follow, which talks about, like what you read out now, talks about the right of all citizens, you know. And then in 2017, I think it was President Muhammad Buhari that passed the Anti-Torture Act, you know. What that means is that if you find someone you think is violating the law, you know, you do the thing, you arrest them, you explain who you are, arrest them, and then in 48 hours, you make sure, or 24 or 48 hours, you make sure that they appear in court, you know. You don't take people, you hold them hostage, you strip them naked. That is the violation of the dignity of their person, which Nigeria has signed and ratified, not just in the Constitution, not just in the VAP Act, not just in the Anti-Torture Act, also at regional and international levels, you know, because we've signed and ratified. There's another law called the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. All of them talk about respect and dignity. Exactly.
For those who have violated the law, or the rights of Nigerians, how many cases do you have in court at the moment? And what have been the success cases that you've been able to brought to the fore and they've been prosecuted?
Okay, so we do not directly as an organization. It's just 2 years ago that we took someone to court who had raped a minor, you know, and that person, of course, is facing justice now. But what we do, we partner with other civil society organizations that their mandate is to take cases to court. So we belong to such networks. But as an organization, we are focused on prevention. How do we even ensure that it doesn't happen in the first place? So what we do is create awareness and bring young people, you know, to the table and let them know their rights. So some of the young women that have benefited from our organization and other partners like the organization for which I'm speaking today, what they have learned is that they know the law. So if you arrest anyone who has been a beneficiary of my organization's project, they will tell you that I can't follow you to police station. You have to show me your identity. It starts from there. And then what are you arresting me for? What offense are you arresting me for? Then you explain. Then when they are not satisfied, they say, can I call my NGO, Vision Spring Initiative, or can I call, you know, my lawyer? You know, so we create awareness so that people don't even get to the point of us having to appear in court.
That means you have right. That means you have lawyers. Who
we have pro bono lawyers. Yes, we do. We have pro bono lawyers that they can call. They don't have to pay anything. Even in different states, You know, we have legal clinics where people can go to lawyers because we know that women are the poorest of the poor. Some women, not all of them. So they can have lawyers that they don't have to pay, you know, to stand for them.
Right. Let's also have you speak some more about, you know, this issue of, you know, cross-dressing, because, you know, we have a, you know, sizable number of Nigeria. We are, you know, after all, we refer to as, will I say, traditional in nature, conservative in nature, and many people regard these scenarios, which are, you know, pervading the society, many say, as, you know, an assault on their sensibilities, on our sensibilities as, you know, culturally and all of that. And if you recall, you know, when we were all growing up, you know, there are some streets, even till now, that you dare not enter if you wear maybe a mini skirt in school. And then now we are seeing, you know, so many, you know, cross-dressers. You spoke earlier about officers who, you know, abuse the law, but, you know, what about when these human rights abuses are carried out by Nigerians themselves who say, okay, yeah, this is an assault on us, this is not who we are. How do you respond to that?
Well, who you are does not, as long as who I am doesn't affect you negatively, I don't see how that's a violation of your right. If I decide to wear, I'm wearing trousers, for instance. There were times that women couldn't wear trousers. We are told that it's men's dressing. I'm wearing it now and it's not affecting you in any way. So how are you going to think, how does it affect you? You know? So the thing is that the law supersedes those cultures, and cultures are dynamic.
Right.
You know?
And talking about
cultures keep changing. So let me even tell you something. I grew up in Enugu, and in Enugu, we have beautiful masquerades dressed like women. You know, that are like male, but they do beautiful things. And I lived my house, we leave our houses to go and watch them, and they entertain us. People who cross-dress, they have not in any way violated my rights. They are dressing, you know, the way they feel, and that also, some of them are into entertainment, you know. You see them, you find them very beautiful and all that. They haven't abused anybody, they haven't shot anybody. Let's even talk about the things that are affecting Nigeria. Young people are killing now. 15-year-olds are killing people. A 15-year-old can be a serial killer. That's a problem. That's what we should talk about, not my dress. My dress has nothing to do with
that leads me to this big question. How do we now start teaching cultural values, morals at this time?
Right. Let me build up on Emmanuel's point, because, yes, you spoke about the law superseding cultures. We've seen repressive cultures, yes. And, you know, the law trumps it all. But in a case where, you know, cross-dressers are, you know, maybe pushing towards, you know, homosexuality and the like, you know, the law clearly frowns at that. And what if we encounter somebody who feels empowered by that legal profession, now taking it upon himself now to, yes, nobody would stand for crime and all of that. Crime is a crime, no matter how you color it. But in a case where, you know, the law has said this is what it is regarding homosexuality, but then we are seeing these individuals going towards that trend. How then do we stop that?
How do you determine something is going towards something? I started by saying that if anyone is found in violation of the laws, the law should take its course. You can't say because I'm wearing trousers today, I'm tending towards homosexuality. That would be speculation. Do you understand? That's speculation.
So hand them over to the
Absolutely.
authorities.
Anybody who breaks the law, you know what to do. We shouldn't take law into our hands. We shouldn't group people. We shouldn't hold people by their trousers by mere speculation. Yeah,
but it's your organization also teaching cultural values, morals to young Nigerians out there that are coming to meet you.
So cultures are dynamic, you know. Cultures are dynamic, and most of those things are already taught in churches and homes. Ours is focused on human rights.
All right.
Okay, and then we will soon wrap up this conversation, but I know you've been in court. You spoke about that, the issue of affirmative action.
Absolutely.
You got a judgment, you and other activists got a judgment, but is the government appealing? Not much has been heard about, you know, holding government to account in this regard. Where are we at?
So this year we had a series of interventions where we are looking at how do we move forward, you know, how do we get government, you know, to, because the document on which we got this judgment is actually government's document, is the National Gender Policy. What they've done is they've renewed it. Is it 2016 to 2023, something like that? We have not stopped. We are still pushing. You know, we have different fora where we are insisting, you know, that women's inclusion is very important.
35%.
35% affirmative action. It was the government who developed this policy. It's not a law, it's a policy. That's why, you know, we keep reminding them. There are countries where policies are almost like laws and they are implemented. So I'm using this space to beg our government, you know, to ensure. It was under the Buhari administration that we got that judgment. We heard sometime that it was going to be appealed, but I don't think it makes sense to appeal it. I think that women's inclusion is critical.
And it's a wake-up call for women also to come out.
Definitely. We'll come out, but
don't just sit behind the scene.
When we come and if you are not listening to us, this is not why we dive under the chairs, but we are ready to.
And the women keep pushing.
Absolutely.
And the women keep pushing. Ngozi Nwosu Juba, Project Director, Vision Spring Initiatives. Thanks a lot for speaking with us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much, and a happy anniversary again.
Thanks again.